There is something powerful about the journey of leadership, the daily steps, the long-term vision, and everything we learn along the way. Welcome to Leadership Labs, where we explore these journeys with the incredible leaders of Aurora Public Schools. In each episode, we hear from those who are helping guide our district toward Destination APS, sharing their stories, their challenges, and the lessons they've learned along the way. Today, we're closing out Season 3 with a very special guest, someone who was also our very first guest on the very first episode of Leadership Labs a year and a half ago. Our superintendent, Mr. Michael Giles Jr., is back. In episode 1, Superintendent Giles was 1.5 years into the superintendency here in APS. And now as we record episode 30, closing out Season 3, he's wrapping up year 3 and recently received a 5-year contract extension from our Board of Education. We've come many miles together and yet still have a long run ahead of us. And so we're going to reflect on the journey so far and look toward what's next. Superintendent, welcome back to Leadership Labs.
Hey, thanks for having me. Happy to be here.
Thank you. It is fitting that you were our first guest and now our 30th guest. And you and I were just reflecting about even the studio setup is a little bit different today than it was about a year and a half ago. We're in the same space, which is my office, but of course, as you all know, I didn't know what I was doing as a podcaster a year and a half ago. So we had the chair set up against the window and the lighting was off and we didn't have a great camera. It was super blurry. And so we've come a long way as a podcast, but would love to hear from you. What's it like to reflect on the last year and a half since we last sat down?
Sure. First thing, I want to start with giving you your kudos. It's funny as you tell the story about us sitting over here by the window and the lighting might have been off and, the whole thing. But what you did and what you're doing now is emblematic of what we do as educators in the system. You had an innovative idea. You took a risk to step out and do something in a manner of trying to celebrate and elevate the leadership across the district. And so when I think about where you started and then where we are now, how the high quality of production that you've been able to push out into the system, I hear from folks within the system and without the system all the time that they just love seeing these videos. So I just want to highlight that, say kudos to you for taking a risk, doing something innovative and learning through the process and improving it.
Thank you.
So, I think that also speaks to just some of the things that I feel we've experienced over the last year and a half since I was first here. The first thing that I'll point to is I feel there's been a great culture shift, a real huge culture shift. I don't know if you remember when you were a principal and you talk about walking through the building and what does it feel like, or even when you visit schools now, before you even get in the classroom, just what does it feel like? What's the energy, right? What's happening?
Yeah.
And you can tell if it's a good place to be or if it's, maybe has some opportunities for some work and growth. But what I'm feeling right now and what people are telling me that they're feeling about APS is a very positive vibe, a positive energy. People excited to be here.
Yeah.
And it's not to say that this is la la land. Of course, this is complex work that we do.
That's right.
But people want to be here. They're excited about the potential of the future. They're excited about the direction we're moving in. And that feels extremely good. And of course, there are a lot of other technical things that we've done since the last time, but I just really want to highlight the fact that there's a great positive energy that is palpable, and people are taking notice of it.
That's right.
Yeah.
You recently received a 5-year contract extension from the Board of Education, and just curious to hear, what does that vote of confidence mean to you? And more importantly, why does a mutual commitment of that length matter?
Yeah, I will tell you, first of all, it's very humbling. And you may know the data better than I do, but I think currently, or at least over the past couple of years, the lifespan of a superintendent is about 1.5, 1.6, something like that, less than 2 years. And so to have a school board agree to a 5-year contract really is humbling. It means that they are recognizing the work that we're doing. They believe in the vision moving forward, that they want to invest in and commit to keeping me in this role to see us deliver on that promise or carry out the vision that has been painted for our schooling community. What it also says is that the community believes, what we're doing, because the board is representative. They are representatives of the community. And if the community was not behind the work that we're doing, if they didn't believe in it, the board would definitely hear about it, and they wouldn't, agree to a contract extension of such. So it means a lot to me. The other piece is I believe in finishing what I started. And the fact that the board has agreed to a 5-year commitment, because I think it's going to take that time for us to get, to achieve those goals we've set out.
Yeah.
I want to be here to finish that work. I want to be here to be a part of that work. And right now, I'm not optimistic. I know that I have a contract that says I can be here to see that work through.
Yes. So. Yeah, it is wild too to think about, when you started 3 years ago. Since then, we've had 2 board elections. Yeah. In the next 5 years, we'll have another, 2 board elections. Yeah. And so, yeah, I agree. I think it is a testament to the board's vision, and them also being in tune and with the progress we're making as a district. Right. We're improving and trending improvement in most of our board goals and guardrails, and and meeting and exceeding a lot of the targets that they set out. So yeah, good work.
I'm so proud. And you said it earlier, and I say this all the time, is we have a ways to go, but we also have to stop and reflect on where we've come so far. And we've done some really good work.
That's right. What was the student who wrote you the letter about the Braille? He said, keep up the good work, or good job, and keep up the good work.
Right.
That's right. Yeah. Cool. Well, hey, let's talk a little bit, just, in reflection of the journey. When we talked in episode 1, you'd been here in APS for about a year and a half, and now you're wrapping up year 3. And just curious of any, leadership gems of, how your thinking has evolved over that time.
Yeah. I feel like I've learned so much, or I've, to use your word, evolved quite a bit in this short amount of time. When you come into a role like this, I didn't know what I was doing. I thought I had an idea of what I was supposed to be doing, what a superintendent does on a daily basis. But I've learned so much over time that there's some things that I thought I should do and I'm not doing at all. And there's some things that I didn't realize that I would be doing as a superintendent, and I am. But here's what I will tell you. What I think I've grown to learn is to trust the folks that you hire, trust the folks that are doing the work out in the field. My job is to create that vision and then share that, hopefully clearly articulate that, and then find out what is it that you, as folks that are in the field with your hands on the ground doing the work, what do you need to succeed? And I have to be a listener. I have to be a thinker. I have to be really thoughtful in hearing what those needs are, and then how can I make decisions that allow those needs to be met so you can be your most successful self in your particular roles. Sure. So I'm constantly trying to think at that level. What does the system need? What does the leadership need? What do principals need? What do teachers need? And then what's my role in trying to meet those needs as much as possible? How do I create the culture for them to feel successful and to be successful? So that's where I try to focus a lot of my time when it comes to leadership. If I were to identify some leadership characteristics that I feel that I'm trying to strengthen, is definitely listening more critically, asking for clarity, and asking, am I being clear too? Because, as leaders, oftentimes we'll say something, we think we're saying it as clearly as possible. And people process things in different ways. And if I don't ask, am I being clear? Does that make sense? Do you understand? You might walk away from a conversation with a completely different perspective or perception of what it is that I'm trying to communicate. So that's something in my leadership that I'm trying to constantly do, is seek clarity and give clarity. I think the other piece is constantly just forcing myself to stay at a very big picture, broad level, because it's easy to get caught up. When I came in, I wanted to know so much about the district, and I wanted to know who's doing what and how they do it and why they do it. There's no way as a superintendent that I could survive at that level, and nor should I, honestly. That's what folks in different roles are for. Yeah. My job is to stay, at the high level, survey the landscape, find out what the needs are, and operate from there. So I feel like I've gotten better in that regard.
Yes. Yeah. When we talked last, you had shared we were coming off of the November elections of 2024, so we just passed the Colorado's largest bond, and
That's
and
right.
that was your proudest moment at that time. As you think back on the last 18 months, is there something else that kind of stands out to you as a new proudest moment?
I think I don't know if I can capture a moment. What I'm most proud of
Mm,
is the way that we're operating now as a system. I think we're being very innovative in our approaches to meeting students' needs and giving students multiple
mm,
opportunities. So when I think about the development of new
that's
pathways
right.
into college and career, outside of the box thinking, the spoken hub model, right?
Yep.
When I think about the work that you and the rest of the team led around Bell schedules,
Mm,
because we identify some inequities, and the Bell schedule allows us to have create equitable experiences for our students. Um, Saved us a lot of money too,
yeah.
but the more important piece is that it creates some equitable experiences that
That's
we're
right.
going to be able to provide our students. That I think about the health science high school that we're going to be building. I think about the dual language school that we're
Yeah.
opening. So a lot of creative thinking that we're bringing to life, because I think people are feeling encouraged and motivated to think differently about how we serve our students.
Yep. Is there anything that has surprised you in the last 18 months? Or what surprised you the most?
I continue to be surprised, and I shouldn't be. I don't know why, but I think I shared this with you before. How political, number one,
Yeah.
how politicized education has become right now. But
Yeah.
then number two, how political my role is.
Yeah.
I'm in a place where I think I've learned to embrace that now. But every day I learn something new about who I need to know, who I need to be in communication with, who's making decisions over here and
Yeah.
there, and what's the motivation behind certain decisions. So I think every day that's what I'm probably hitting the face with is just the politics behind this role.
Yes.
Yep.
Politics as usual.
As usual. That's right.
um, as you sort of reflect again on those last 18 months, who are the people who have supported you through this stretch of the long run?
Yeah. I'm going to start with my leadership team. I really, really appreciate the camaraderie and the professionalism and the family that I feel that we not only have built, but we'll continue to solidify. I feel like I can lean on my leadership team, and I think anybody in any leadership position knows how important that is to have people
Yes.
that you can trust, people that'll hold you accountable, people you can talk to, right? So I'll start with that, and then I'll go outside of kind of the system here. Obviously, my family, my wife, a
Yes.
beautiful wife, takes care of me. She gives me the space that I need. She's always two steps ahead of me to make sure that I'm good to come to work and do what I
Yeah.
have to do. My parents also, and my daughters are very supportive. They hold me up. And then lastly, I have some what I like to call prayer warriors. I
Mm,
have a lot of prayer warriors out in the community.
good.
Some of them who tell me all the time, I'm praying for you. And then some of them who maybe haven't said it, but I know that they are.
Yeah. Yeah.
Uh,
Good. Um, well, let's talk about some significant milestones over the last 18 months. So,
mhm.
one of the things we did since we last spoke was launch Destination APS as our strategic plan. What has it meant to you to have our new strategic plan guiding our work and your vision?
Yeah, yeah. So there are a number of things that I want to speak to. The first one is just the process of developing the strategic plan, and then even the phases of implementation. The cross divisional, cross
That's right.
departmental collaboration that has occurred has been extremely impressive, amazing to me, right? People have been coming together once a month, sometimes more than that, working in pods and coming together as large groups, doing research, analyzing data, talking about strategic inputs into the system and how we're going to roll things out. It's just a beautiful thing to see people from diverse areas of the district working together to bring this to life. So the process piece is I'm very proud of. The other piece is that I hear directly from principals. I hear from teachers also now. Whether they like it or not, I don't know. But sometimes what they do appreciate is clarity.
That's
They
right.
know what the focus is.
Yes.
They know what they need to invest their time, their energy on through each phase of the strategic plan. Whereas, if it wasn't carried out well, people are wondering, what's the priority? What are we focusing on? What do I invest my time and energy on? But I'm hearing more and more alignment. I'm hearing more and more clarity is how the system is perceiving this plan. So that feels really good. And then the last thing I would say is that, you come into a place, and I'm trying to paint this what I consider to be a beautiful vision of how we want to serve our students and our community. And even as confident as I was at that time and am that we were going to get there, you have doubts sometimes around, okay, how are we going to really get there? And now to see the actual implementation, the steps coming into place, and people feeling good about the strategies that we've chosen, that kind of relieves me of that any doubt that may have crept in my mind and say, okay, how are we going to actually get there? Because I know we have a pathway forward.
Absolutely. I mean, I was just at a few network meetings yesterday morning, and we're talking about Big Rock 3, around culture and positive behavior intervention supports. And I think our system actually is now becoming a lot more accustomed to have an alignment and coherence across. And like you said, that clarity on, what are the priorities? What are we focused on? What are our big rocks?
And to that point too, that I'm big on culture, and for me, what I've observed is that's a big culture shift for Aurora Public Schools, a district that has previously had a lot of autonomy.
Yeah,
and I'm not against autonomy at all. I mean, I think I have always loved to be able to work in spaces where I can put Mike Giles' flair and flavor on the work I do. I also appreciate knowing what direction it is I'm supposed to be going. And I think that's the piece that we're trying to give the system.
Yes.
And it's coming together.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
We've also seen remarkable school improvements, both in your time as superintendent and again, just in the last 18 months, we have a lot more schools this year that moved to a performance rating, and some for the first time in years, some in over a decade. What does that progress tell you about where we are and where we're headed?
It tells me a couple of things. It tells me that we are doing the right work. It also affirms what I've already known, is that our kids are brilliant and our kids can and want to achieve, right? But it's incumbent upon us to create the structures, provide the resources and the opportunity. And so the growth that we've seen this far is just evidence of what we know is capable, our kids capable of, what's possible. I don't know if I need to even expand upon that.
Totally. And we do have a goal of every school in APS being a performance rated school, but also that our district is earns a performance rating. And I remember
9 points away.
9.4. I remember you texted me and saying, "Hey, what does 9.4 mean to you?" And I probably gave you 20 different examples, and that's how far away we are as a district from achieving our first performance rating as a district. So we are on our way there, and we're going to get there.
I don't doubt that at all.
We're also about to open Escuela Bilingüe Betty Benavides, our first dual language school, and of course Coal Creek, PA, which when we spoke last, we knew it was coming, but we hadn't even broken ground on it when we last spoke. And how do these new schools fit into your vision for APS?
Well, I'll tell you, the dual language school, I kind of alluded to that earlier. It's long overdue.
Yeah.
When I think about the multiple languages that are spoken in our schools and in our community, and if we say we honor that diversity, then why would we not have a learning environment that truly uplifts that, right? And gives students an opportunity to thrive in multiple different languages. So I'm just so excited that we're starting there, and I hope that becomes a proof of concept of, for something else that we can do down the road.
Yes.
And then Coal Creek, in addition to some of the other PHs that are coming, I mean, we just have a need. When I think about that east side of the corridor of the district, it's growing, and more and more students are coming out in that area of the district. So we have to provide great learning spaces. And then not only just to build a school, but when I think about the design of the school, and how it's very intentional and specific so that kids get them, they can learn in the greatest, most optimal environment. That excites me too. The other thing, we just made a promise to our community. When we asked them to support us in a $1 billion bond, we were promising them something. And to see shovels go in the ground and us start to erect those buildings, that means we're delivering on the promise that we gave them.
Absolutely. It's wild to me too. Again, like even thinking of where we were 18 months ago, where we are today, we've got 2 year zero principals that are, on deck right now with Kristen in the Health Science High School, and of course Eric with the Foundry P8, and I think we've broken ground on the
health science. I think we have. I know we have some fences up. I don't know if we start digging.
It's just it takes time, but also it moves quickly. You turn around and you've got a whole new school community up and going. What's one leadership lesson, from the last either 1.5 years or even just from, your time here that you wish you'd known earlier in your superintendency?
I'm going to shift that just a little bit. I think what I'm growing more confident in that I wish I had been in my earlier stage of leadership, even my first year as a superintendent, is being comfortable showing up authentically. Oftentimes we'll put on a mask because we believe we're supposed to show up a certain way for people to see us as intelligent, capable, whatever the case might be. Or we're afraid that if we show our true selves, somebody's going to place judgment on that, and maybe it discredits our abilities. And I've gotten to a place, and maybe it's like my mother always said when she turned 50, I don't care what they think, right? I don't think I'm that far, but where I am is that I am who I am, and it's enough, and it's okay. And what I hope, not only for myself, is that when I show up that way, I'm modeling for other people that who you are is more than enough. And you don't have to put on a mask to step into any kind of role, any leadership role or anything.
Yes. So, I want to talk a little bit about how you maintain momentum and energy when leading a district of this size through sustained improvement. And, I even just remembering, the first episode 18 months ago, you were recently back on your health journey, getting the dots, stacking up. So,
I'm still doing that. So if I were to offer that to anybody else, is you have to take care of yourself. If you can't take care of yourself, there's no way you can be your most effective self for others, right? And I kind of let that slide in my first year. I did let that slide in my first year. But to your point, I found my way back into exercise. Trying to eat better. I don't eat as well as I would like to on most occasions, but I do pretty well.
You do.
And then trying to get rest too. Because we in our roles, we could stay up all night through the night working.
Yes.
But I found that I need to sleep. When I get some sleep, I wake up a better person. I can think more clearly and so on and so forth. So those things that I need to do to take care of myself, I've committed to. And I feel like a different leader now. That sustains me.
Yeah.
The other thing that I would just offer, and this is probably more technical in leadership, and you made me proud, and Chrissy made me proud a week or so ago. I think it was during our retreat. And we were trying to identify the leadership practices that we were going to focus on. And I believe you said it, and Christy said it again, that I think we were supposed to identify like 5, and we identified 6 or something. And you alluded to, we need to whittle these down to be more clear and focused, right? And I don't know if you even remember that, but one of the things that I've tried to do, and I think I've gotten better about, is narrowing the focus.
Yeah.
And I know in a system this large, sometimes people don't feel that way, but I am constantly trying to be conscious of, we can't do everything. We can't be great at everything. So we have to narrow what it is we're focused on. And what that does for me personally, getting back to your question, it alleviates some anxiety and that feeling of being overwhelmed because I'm focused on everything when I can't. But what's most important? What are the priorities? And let's stick with that.
Yeah. Thank you for that. As we wrap up year 1 of our 5-year strategic plan, and as we begin monitoring the new goals that the board of ed has set for the next 5 years, where do you hope to see APS 5 years from now?
5 years from now, I don't hope, I expect that we will have achieved the goals that the board has set. And I know they're very, very ambitious. And I feel that we can accomplish them. I really do.
Absolutely.
So that's the short answer. That's where I expect to see APS. But what I also expect to see is APS on the front edge of kind of leading education in our state. Now, I'd love to dream even bigger, and sometimes I do, say around the nation, and I think there are opportunities for that. But I definitely, in 5 years, I want people saying, when they think about Colorado education,
yes,
they're talking about Aurora Public Schools and the way that we've designed these experiences for our students, what they get, and then the outcomes for them.
Yes, absolutely. I mean, and I think folks here in Aurora are beginning to see how those things are taking shape, whether it's our plan to meet the goals, and they're really ambitious, right? We need to double the percentage of kinder through second graders who are reading at grade level.
Right.
We are looking to do a double-digit increase in the percentage of students graduating on time, and
I think we'll hit that one much sooner.
I agree with you.
We'll see what next year looks like, actually, right?
Yeah.
So, yeah. Go ahead.
I'm a betting man. I'll take that bet too.
That's right.
And we're setting as Christy says, with Destination APS and strat plan, even in the next just couple of years, setting some of the tracks when we talk about the spoken hubs and the pathways and all of the neat learning opportunities that are coming for our students is going to be, we're here and we're coming.
And here's something, something I want to acknowledge, and especially because this is a podcast, it could be easy for people to perceive us as being overly optimistic and, and just high energy trying to sell a vision.
Right.
And that's okay. That's my job. That's your job in leadership. We're supposed to inspire the vision, right?
Yeah.
But what I also offer to you is that we have evidence of success already in a short time, which tells me we're doing the right work. We're on the right path. We just have to make the right tweaks and implementation to get us there.
Absolutely. What excites you the most about the road ahead?
There's so many things. I get excited about the potential and the opportunity that we're creating for our students, because we don't even know what the jobs will be available in the next so many years. We don't know what university is going to look like, but whatever it is, I think that I'm excited that we're going to prepare our students for that.
Yeah.
Right. They'll be able to walk away from us and go into whatever pathway they choose to, with the skills, knowledge, the aptitude, all of that. And that does excite me. I'm also excited about the buzz that's going around our district right now, which tells me that we have great potential to actually be that destination district, or the district that everybody in the state looks to.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? That excites me. And then just being a part of the work, because the work, I said this a little bit earlier, the work is hard, but it's so satisfying. It's gratifying when you see the outcomes.
Yeah.
So I get excited about that.
Yes. I always have to ask, what's been playing in your most recent played songs list?
So you know what? AZ just gave us a teaser, man. He didn't drop the whole album. I just checked last night. There's only 2 tracks from his new album. So I've been playing that over and over, and I'm fiending for the whole album to drop.
What's funny about that? Eric Cohen yesterday, our principal at Harmony Ridge, who's going to be over at at Foundry. He asked me, he said, "Hey, I've been having this conversation with some folks, and who would you say is like a top underrated artist?" And I said, "Oh, easy, AZ."
Yeah.
And and I think, he's been buzzing lately.
He has been.
30 years ago, dropped the best feature ever, and since then, 10 solo albums in between, and he's not in the conversation enough.
He's never in the conversation, exactly.
You never surprised me with your good taste in music. All right, our lightning round question for you.
Okay.
What one message you'd want every APS employee to hear as we move into this next chapter of Destination APS?
That you are seen, you are valued, and those aren't just talking points. I mean, that's real. We see the effort that you put in every single day for kids, for the community, and there are things that go unseen that I know that you do for
Indeed.
our kids in our community. And we want you to be able to thrive just as much as we want our students to thrive. So I think that's what I would offer.
Amazing. Superintendent, thank you for coming back to Leadership Labs and for closing out season 3 with us.
Yeah.
From the starting line, which was the first episode, to the long run, which is our 30th episode. We've covered a lot of ground together, from new schools, of course, the historic bond passage, Destination APS, schools achieving performance ratings, our portrait of a graduate work, our plans for CTE, and of course, as you mentioned earlier, our community has affirmed their belief in where you're leading us. And we're not to the finish line yet, but we can see it ahead, and we're continuing to move forward. So to our listeners, I thank you for joining us for all 30 episodes across 3 seasons of Leadership Labs. We've explored the journeys of principals, district leaders, instructional directors, students, and so many others who are helping guide us toward Destination APS. We're going to take a summer break, and we'll return for season 4 in August. And until then, keep running your race with Superintendent Giles.
And I know this is off script, but I'm going to take
it.
a point of privilege, man. I just have to elevate you and your effort in this and many other things. But this has put a spotlight on leadership in our district. And people are calling, people are checking in, and it's all because of your vision and your desire to do that. So thank you so much.
I appreciate that. Yep. Thank you. We'll see y'all next year.
All right.
Thank you.